My name's Schmoyer. I'm from Seward, Alaska. I was working for Marathon Oil Company in '78, and I had a brother-in-law who was working at Prudhoe, and he said, you need to talk to this guy named Gary Pliska, and he's looking for people to go to work. And okay, so I applied for a job there, and I didn't get the first one. They hired some guy named Ross who had 20 years experience, and the second one they wanted to put me in a computer programming job, and that was a no-go. And then third time around they gave me a shot. I went up to the slope for an interview trip in May of '79, and met at the airport by a gal named Julie Huser, and met a guy named Ted Stagg, and they gave me the thumbs up, so went to work. Was up on the slope for, from '79 to '98, and then it was time to move. So I went to work in town. I was a PE supervisor, if you will, because of my experience on the slope. When I worked on the slope, all the pad engineers calling me, going, "What do we do with this? This well's broke," and all that. And so when I went to town, I was working with those guys again. The guy Jim Welch was my predecessor in town, and he wanted to go to Ecuador, and he said, "I got to have a replacement." He says, "You need to come take my job." So that's how it worked. The one job that I remember more than any, and there were just so many over the years. It was summertime. Eric Walker was the lead PE, and I was what they call the ramrod, the dispatcher. And we were on a well called D7 doing a coil tubing job. And I got called out there, and they were stuck, and we had to do a process called to cut the coil. And anyway, we got in the middle of it, and the well started surging on us, and we're, I don't know, minutes away from having a blowout, and we had to close BOPs, the blowout preventers, and that's the longest, I think, 90 seconds of my life. It would have been ugly. I don't know. I couldn't say how ugly, but it was not gonna be pretty. We were trying to put a valve over the coil, anyway, when it got when the water and everything that the gas was pushing out got about 6 feet in the air over our heads, we said, "Okay, no mas." So I was just incredibly fortunate. I mean, I stepped into this career that was just kind of mind-blowing, and shortly after getting on the slope, I started working for Ross Warner, who was a phenomenal boss and a great mentor. And we started out, there were phases. I mean, they were just bringing the field on. So initially we were doing open hole logs and perforating, and that was it. And just struggling to keep up with the drill rigs and get the oil flow. And I remember perforating this one well, memories that stick in your mind, but on a 6-inch Cameron tree. It's a massive piece of iron, and we perforated this well, and then we had to open it up for flow. And I'm up there by myself, nobody else around, and I'm easing this swab valve open, and that whole friggin' tree is just vibrating with this monster trying to get out. It was incredible, just bringing this well on. But we, open hole logs, perforating, get the field up and running, and then we transitioned from that. Well, this well's not doing what it should be. Well, why is that? So, diagnostics to try to find out what was wrong with the wells, and then diagnostics lead to remedial work, and we got into a phase after really after Plateau that I would say Prudhoe, big part leading the industry. We developed downhole cameras. We developed inflatable bridge plugs and packers. We had a huge part in developing coiled tubing, and then all the amazing young engineers that came through developing them. And then beyond that was a point where we started exporting that around the world. These guys were, hey, we're doing this, we're here, you're doing this, we're doing this over in Egypt or wherever, and we need somebody to help, and so we got into that. And then in the mid '90s, it kind of started to go the other way, and I got out of the slope in '98, and probably a year later than I should have, because it was not much fun. Although in the mid '80s, I think we had 6 coiled tubing units running, and I would have, it was before desktop computers, I guess, but legal pad, just all kinds of notes on who's called, call, blah, blah, blah. I had 3 chairs in my office that were always full, and there were 4 guys out in the hallway waiting, so I always say they tried to kill me for a long time. But it was, wow, what a career. What a career. It's amazing.
So when did you retired, I'm assuming?
Pardon?
Are you retired?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I retired in 2010, 98 in the office, and had a lot of fun. Same thing, just a lot of young talent and smart people and complicated issues. And then for the last couple of years, for me, I look at the slope, and it was always headed in that direction. I mean, historically, if you look at oil fields around the world, so the big guys come in, BP, big money, they develop it and they get it going, and when it's off peak, you get to a point where it doesn't fit their portfolio anymore, and then these, some smaller guys come in and go, oh yeah, we don't have all the bureaucracy, and man, look at all this opportunity, and they milk it, and I think it'll keep going. I've always been impressed with Conoco and their approach, and I think they're going to, they're still going. And technology's changed, opened up a lot of reservoirs, a lot of reserves, and I would anticipate that it continues on pretty close to where we're at now. No, like I said, I just stumbled into this career. I had a degree in math, from Gonzaga University in 1974, and I hit the industry at a time when they couldn't find people, and so I just, how lucky am I? So, yeah, it was awesome, good times. So.